Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Breakfast special.
That's right. Welcome to the Breakfast Special with me, Ahmad Akhtar, and Audrey Siek. Now, have you ever wondered how much each dish costs at your favorite economy rice stall? Well, by the end of this year, all economy rice stalls in 77 Koufu food courts and coffee shops will have color-coded price labels for all dishes.
Yes, and these labels will categorize the types of dishes, meat, seafood, vegetables, and premium items and their individual prices. And the move aims to enhance price transparency and provide consumers with greater certainty when ordering their usual dishes.
And the Consumers Association of Singapore hopes this joint initiative between CASE and Koufu will lay the groundwork for all economy rice stalls in Singapore to display their prices for individual dishes. Now, for more insights on this topic, we're joined by Associate Professor Cheen. He's the head of marketing program at the School of Business at the Singapore University of Social Sciences. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, everyone.
Nice to have you on. First off, what's your favorite dish, sir?
Well, I think I have quite a number of favorite dishes when it comes to economy rice because this is plentiful. I think probably the Kung Po chicken, the sweet sour pork, right? Mostly the meat dishes.
Me too. Are you a fan of seafood? Because I know those are the priciest ones usually.
Well, I don't usually eat seafood. Luckily, I'm not one of those who eat seafood. Otherwise, I will get into a lot of disputes with the stall operators.
Sounds like you're not much of a vegetable man. But in any case, can you explain the significance of introducing color-coded price labels in economy rice stalls? And from a marketing perspective, why color coding?
Well, the main significance is that it helps in price transparency. And this minimizes price deception. Most of the time, if we analyze the complaints that we see on social media, most consumers will be relating to the experience in terms of disputing the prices when they have to pay at the end of the day at the cashier and say, "Here, this is not the kind of price that I expected." And I think with color coding, this would help reduce such disputes. You know what you are buying because when you look at the color, it's a meat dish or it's a vegetable dish. Or it's a fish, and you can reduce the dispute. And all this, I think, from a marketing perspective, is very much drawing from the learnings from color psychology, right? And there's a lot of research done that colors are very impactful visual cues for consumers. And that is why colors have been used for a variety of reasons in the past, signaling flags, our traffic lights. It's all colors because colors with good contrast can actually help us process things much faster and we recognize, items with different colors. And I think this also, is an easy way for people who with different background languages. You look at colors, what we are trying to communicate, right? You don't have to, economy rice, people of all walks of life buy economy rice. And just looking at colors, it helps. Even that you can't see the small price tag, you intend to put a price tag. So colors is, I think, the most easiest visual cues. And in terms of communication, I think it is most impactful.
Yeah, a very universal way of communicating. And we alluded to this earlier, but a big frustration for customers has been the inconsistent pricing at economy rice stalls, right? Some people have no idea what they're paying until the cashier tells them. So how do you think this initiative with color-coded labels will help address those concerns? Because you still have to do some mental math at the end of the day, right?
Well, I think most of the time when we go to our economic rice stalls, they would have a price display stating that, the one vegetable, two meat, or two meat, two vegetable, one meat, and your combinations, and say, okay, come out to this price. And basically, it takes away the burden of mental calculation. So you can just put in, one green, which is probably vegetable, right? And the price is there. So unless you want a very, very weird combination, you still can look at your color code and do your calculation when you're in the queue, right? Bring out your handphone and do that. So that will be easy. Just have to look at the color, and if you pick two of each color and one color, that is the price you're getting. I think in the past, the problem is that when customers select a vegetable item, which you think is vegetable, and there's some small pieces of meat in there, and you don't see that. And then you think that, okay, I'm selecting a vegetable, and then when you are paying at the counter and it was registered as a meat item, and then this is where the unhappiness and the dissatisfaction comes in. So I think sometimes, it may not be intended, and sometimes it could be a sticky way of some operators trying to pull a fast one on the consumers, and that really irks a lot of consumers when they come to that.
Yeah, it does, Prof. And it's raised concerns about mistrust in the past that we've seen between food stall operators and customers. In fact, I was reading an article before the interview from last year about how a diner at a Toa Payoh food court was puzzled after store staff labeled his chicken cutlet as fish, and he was charged accordingly. So he wasn't very pleased about that. So in your view, how will this initiative influence that relationship between stall operators and customers? Will it lead to more trust and customer satisfaction, or are there potential challenges that lie ahead for stall operators?
I think, I don't know for you, for me, you will usually visit a few familiar stalls. And when you're familiar with them, you visit them maybe twice a week or even 3 times a week, because if you eat out more often. And we want to build that relationship. And sometimes you can tell some stores they are very genuine. They will tell you ahead of time you select the item, even though there's no price labels or color tagging. They tell you, okay, this item is a special item and you have to charge you more. Will you be okay? It really shows the sincerity, honesty of the operator. But there are some that it's like a lucky draw. On that day, you just go and select, and just hope that it is within your budget, or that you have selected an item that doesn't have small pieces of meat or a shrimp in there, and they charge you for as a seafood or a meat. So I think with this price transparency, color labeling, we will be able to tell consumers, will be able to tell that, okay, I have selected something, it is very clear, and there should be no dispute. And I think with that, it really builds more trust. And research, in consumer behavior does show that customers tend to build stronger trust and better satisfaction when they purchase from any retailer, whether it's F&B or normal retailer. They will have a better sense of satisfaction and trust when the price are more transparent. They're informed of the price, when there is no hidden price. And that really, I think, as you have mentioned, would really elevate the level of customer-operator relationship. And I think with that, it adds value as well. They will come back again more frequently rather than say, I'm going to ban this store. I think I have that experience as well, going to one of this and then I say, I'm not coming back again because, I think I've been taken for a ride by them for once, and I'm not going to come back again.
Yeah, I think you brought up a great point, Professor. One of the key goals of this initiative is to enhance price transparency. And we hear a lot about price transparency in retail, right? But how important is this in something as everyday as food courts and coffee shops? Could this possibly set a precedent for other types of food vendors?
Well, price transparency actually builds confidence in consumers. When we are confident with the seller, it makes us want to return. It makes us feel comfortable with the seller. So I think with prevalence of social media today, any mistrust or what you call deception or deceptive practice by any operators easily just spread. And I think it's really not helpful for any businesses, operators who try to beat the system. You think you probably can cheat a customer once or twice, but it's not going to be good for the long run. And with social media, the news can go viral. So I think it is very good for that transparency is adhered. And when such operators know that, transparency actually helps them, that, it builds trust, like I mentioned earlier, and it will bring customers back, better loyalty, I think they will jump in. It's those who want to, have a short-term view of business, thinking they can, earn a quick one from their customers. Yeah, that are those that will really lose out.
Yeah, and on that point, do you think this kind of pricing clarity can help alleviate the impact of inflation on daily food choices for Singaporeans?
Sure, definitely. I think, that in the whole socio-economic spectrum, there are, and those are the lower end, probably definitely are those who are most affected with poor price transparency. They are the ones who most likely want to compare prices. They want to look for something that's economical. So economy rise, right? And by having price transparency, they can compare price and they can select where they want to go for the best deal, right? I don't know whether you heard of Price Kaki, a mobile app that Case have introduced. You can actually go there and look at the different prices from different stores that sells different cooked food. So I think that is a very good initiative by Case, because with that, I think that helps promote price transparency. It's reported by consumers like you and I. So when we go and visit, we can put in our experience there, and it helps the industry to a certain extent regulate themselves. And I think with that help us, consumers who are more price sensitive, to plan better ahead and to better budget how much they want to spend. And I think that's very helpful.
Yeah. All right, Professor Lau, before you go, are there any further steps that you think should be taken to make sure that this kind of price transparency initiative extends to all food stalls across Singapore? And do you also foresee other similar measures being implemented in other sectors that may benefit from this as well?
I think to make this prevalent across, you should go to sector by sector. And I think to make this work in, let's say, the economy rice store, I think this would be a good example, because it is one of the most consumed food. Like both of you mentioned, we're talking about your favorite food that you would patronize most of the time. And I really support what Case is doing, that they are championing this. And if they champion this well with Koufu, I think the rest may want to come in because they look at the success. I think so. To make this a success, I think we need to see some good success stories, like what Koufu is doing. And when other operators see that happen, they would want to come in. And I think we will have to wait and see. Probably some accreditation, some badges, like you are on Price Kaki, for instance, you can give to your operators that are really been genuinely very price transparent. And when people see that, they also take that as a direction who they should go to. And that benefits the sellers and the consumers.
Yeah, so it will be really interesting to see how this unfolds and whether more food stalls will follow suit. Thanks again for your time, Professor Lau, and for helping us understand the impact of price transparency in our daily food choices.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. I wish you all the best in your meat-eating endeavors. That was Associate Professor Lau Kong Cheen, Head of Marketing Program at the School of Business at Singapore University of Social Sciences. Stay with Money FM 89.3.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.